This is Mark and Charity's Coffee Podcast.
Coming to you from Belleville, Ontario, the rock and roll capital of the world. Wasn't without incident last night, though, at the open Empire Rock Fest. Two girls got at it, took security. Pandemic, we get out.
This really intrigued you.
It's Jenny Berggren and TLC.
Well, I think it was.
It's not the Hells Angels getting together.
It was a 90s night.
Yeah.
At Empire Rock Fest.
And it's girls. Stop it. Come on.
You think it was over a guy. It doesn't matter what it was about. But it was just a small moment of an otherwise incredible night. We have heard and seen on social media the crowd and the music. You also made a good point too that if you're going to take a video of Jenny Berggren on stage or TLC or 112,
right.
if you want to share your experience,
right. If you're going to do it tonight for the headstones or tea party,
don't you yourself start screaming.
Yeah, you have to be quiet. If you're the one filming, yes. I don't need you to go right beside the phone.
Because you're the one that gets picked up.
What's the point then of filming you just making
you can't hear the performers, but some great video and shots. And thank you to Cole Naylor, our promotions guy, and everyone knows Cole. He was there last night too. Fanboyed out a little bit yesterday when he heard me talk to Jenny Berggren.
Yeah.
Doesn't he then get to introduce her last night?
Yes, it does.
Like, it's crazy. It's incredible. He even said, I think this is the highlight. This is the high point of my career. He was so excited. So thank you for sharing that.
He's not in yet. I think he went with her. I think he's traveling with Jenny now to introduce her at all venues. At
all of that. I wouldn't be surprised. Cole would be great.
Oh my gosh. She'd be fabulous.
So good for him. I'm glad he got to do that.
Welcome Owen Sound. I don't know, wherever she is going next.
But she didn't sing Lucky Love.
That's crazy. I need to ask you then, why, if even Jenny Berggren, after all these years, doesn't do that song, is it your favorite or the one that stands out from Mesa Base?
Just one of those songs. It's like you and your deep cuts. Yep. I just like the song. It just struck a chord with me, and I just enjoy it. It makes me happy when I hear it.
Okay.
It was never popular. No, it wasn't.
I accept that.
It wasn't. Do you accept that?
I accept that.
You accept that.
If anybody, I do, because I'm Mr. Deep Cut.
Yeah.
It's almost like, to me, maybe it's the same to you, is that when a song becomes, I go back to a quote that Paul Simon had of Simon and Garfunkel. He said, Bridge Over Troubled Waters doesn't even feel like it's his anymore. It was so big that it literally belongs to everybody. It's not even mine. So I think when there's a song I like and it becomes a major hit that everybody likes, I'm like, okay, you can have that one.
You kind of lose it.
I want a song my own off that album. That because I like music so much that to only like the biggest song an artist has, to me, isn't proving you're a real fan. So when you can, I get that. I'm Mr. Deep Cuts.
I just, at the time, I remember it was one of those songs that we say there's a point in your life where they just resonate a little bit more with you. And that song was part of that time period. That another one's Roxette's Fading Like a Flower. Again, not their biggest one. And I think a lot of people forget about it. But to me, when I hear that song, it just makes me feel good. It just takes me back. I enjoy it. So I will. It's become a punchline a little bit, I think, too now, my Ace of Base selection. But I don't care because I like it.
Jenny, next time you're in town, Lucky Love, off the top. Off the top.
Or if we get a chance to talk to
on stage.
If we get a chance to talk to her again, that's going to be the first topic of conversation.
Can you sing?
Can I? No, God, no. Lord, no.
If she had you on stage, would you do the song with her?
Nope. I wouldn't even try. No. Are you kidding? I would be so embarrassed. I would be mortified.
I thought you could sing.
I can't sing. No, I am tone deaf. I'm completely. I remember I was in the church choir.
Yeah.
And how uncomfortable my parents were. Like, my parents have always been very proud of me, but in those moments, I could tell. Yeah, exactly.
Don't put your fridge yard up. But oh, no.
They buried me in the choir.
Wait for it. Charity solo.
And the thing is, I love to sing, but I'm horrible. So I sing by myself.
Oh,
not at Empire Rock Fest on a stage in front of hundreds of people with the artist, right? No. No.
Take it away, Charity.
Oh, that just makes me feel nauseous thinking about it. No.
It's like eating 3 things instead of 2.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not right. It's not right.
But coming up tomorrow night, Jake Clemons, who is Clarence Clemons' nephew. So that's probably, that's the handshake of the conversation. That's how you would open it. Oh, okay. Then the more you hear him and the more you learn of his career that has been growing, is more than enough of his own star. But that's how we got kind of his start, as everybody knew him as that. And now,
and now part of the E Street
Band. Now that
with
Clarence
Bruce
passed
Springsteen.
away, he's filled in on sax, and that's great. But he's got his own band, of which Mark Rashad here in Belleville is the manager and lead guitarist of. So that's a big part of Empire Rock Fest. We talked to him yesterday to see how he feels about the show tomorrow night. Jake Clemons on the show, Empire Rock Fest performer. Hey, Jake, the last time you performed in Belleville, there wasn't even an audience. So thanks for that. Boy, you got to be looking forward to seeing all of those people here this weekend.
Live in person.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I much prefer a live audience to a webcast.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. It's gonna be exciting to see a lot of smiling, rocking faces out there. We're full of anticipation for it, and ready to throw up a very strong rock and roll show.
Yeah.
And no stranger to the Empire Rock Fest. You've performed here before throughout the year, but as part of the Rock Fest, are you looking forward to it? Was it exciting to be coming back?
Yeah, absolutely. The last time we were there, we had such a great time. The energy is just so amazing. It doesn't. Belleville's not like a big shining star on the map necessarily, but it's. I think it's got the potential to be heading that way. Just from events like this, they're so dynamic, so extremely fun. The crowd participation is always great. And like I said, last time we played there, it was so exciting.
Jake Clemons joining us this morning for Empire Rock Fest. You just got back from the Yukon.
That's right. I absolutely did. Yeah, first time. It's been on my radar for a while, and finally got to get up there and saw some grizzly bears and stood on the glacier and rocked some faces off. So,
on the glacier?
I did not perform on the glacier. No.
You have to do that another time then. But you took some time too to also do some teaching.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of great kids up there, man. You got to keep an eye out for the Yukon. There's a lot of great art and culture and music up there, and we worked with a group of kids. I guess like 12 to 14 or so. There's going to be some pretty significant talent coming out of there. It's pretty cool.
So you've been to the Yukon. You're coming here this weekend. Is your summer full? Is it jam-packed? Where are you heading from Belleville?
From Belleville, we've got a show in Quebec, and then we head to Boston, and then D.C., and then back to Quebec, and eventually heading out east for the first time.
Oh, really?
I've been to Moncton out east. Past Quebec, the one place I've been to is Moncton. So, so I'm excited about going to Prince Edward.
I saw CNE on your lineup too. That was announced yesterday. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Very cool. Yeah. That's very exciting.
Yeah, don't be eating the food. Don't be eating the food before the show. Watch it.
There's a lot.
Oh.
But after the pandemic, it must be so nice. We were teasing you about the live streaming performances. It must be great to be back out on the road and performing again in front of live audiences.
Absolutely. It was an interesting, phase. Like for me, it's all about an engagement with the audience. I like to have the audience kind of go with me and direct the experience with me. So doing that without an audience, it's kind of tough.
We saw an interview of yours online when you were asked, because it's part of your job, but yet it isn't just a job. It's a calling. It's your life. So when that's taken away from you, the new appreciation you have for it when it comes back is just so overwhelming.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then, of course, with Mark Rashad being in the band, you're officially I think you're the house band now for Empire Rock Fest. You can go whatever you want because Dad's in the band. You can do whatever you want.
That's it. There's an element of kind of feeling like a little bit of the hometown heroes,
Yeah.
Hey, we're so happy to have you back, wrapping the whole thing up on Saturday, and have you
What a
back
party.
in town. And then you're going to be at the CNE and out east, and you're teaching kids how to do music. So we congratulate you on your really blossoming career. And I know you're going to head out with Bruce later on. But to squeeze us in one more time, Jake, we're thrilled to have you here. Thanks for coming out for Empire Rock Fest.
My absolute pleasure. I'm thrilled. Thank you so much.
Such a nice man. I know you've spoken to him before, but he seems like such a nice person. I would love to meet him. He would be great to talk to. The stories he would have too.
Yeah.
As you said, being Clarence's nephew,
Right.
touring with Bruce, and then on his own, the places and people he's met, and like we said about being even up in the Yukon, those experiences would be amazing. So he's going to be here tomorrow night, no stranger to the Empire, and back in town and happy to be here. And it's going to be another great show.
And as successful as he is being, and he's going to be the CNE, as was mentioned in there, what a shadow to have to crawl out from. Like, it's a great start. Probably gave him a leg up on other people, but now it can kind of hold you back a little bit because you get the chance to talk to Jake Clemons and you go for about 2 minutes. Great. Now let's talk about Bruce Springsteen for the next half hour.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, I want to go beyond that. And from what I understand, Bruce feels the same way. If I might tell a little story that I understood from another chat I had with him, is that Jake went, I'm not going to let the truth get in the way of a good story till I get to the point. It's the punchline I want. I don't know all the details. But the band was playing in New Jersey.
Okay.
And something tells me that if it wasn't the bar where Clarence first heard Bruce and jumped on stage and began this in the late 60s, early 70s, it was a bar like that.
All right.
Known. And because Jake was playing, the thought was, Bruce will come because Jake's
here.
there. Right.
Yeah.
And so there was that anticipation in the crowd, and he didn't come. And that was fine to Jake. It was great if he did. It didn't matter to him that it didn't.
He wasn't promoting it as though
Exactly.
Bruce would come.
Like
he was
if
just
I
coming.
Right.
Yeah.
Just people, sort of wanted to put two and two together and thought that they had figured something out.
Yeah.
And then in talking to him later, Bruce's comment to Jake was, that was your night. And if I came, it's now about me, and I would never do that to you. That's Bruce Springsteen.
Well, and that's very,
Right? Like when you think about it.
But they do see it. And Jake, I'm sure,
Exactly.
sees it too.
Right.
There is that association. Of course, he expects to talk about it. I know you and I went into it not wanting to.
Right, because this is about Empire Rock Fest.
Honestly, I would have loved to. I would love
Sure.
to hear stories about Bruce Springsteen. But you're right. It's about Empire Rock Fest and his show. It's not Jake Clemons with Bruce Springsteen. It's Jake Clemons' band that's performing tomorrow. So you're going to focus on that. But I'm sure there are times and there are people who would throw that out the window.
Right.
And focus on his uncle even too, and Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah. And if Bruce Springsteen wants to go in and see him, he can do that. But he recognizes what happens if I walk in the room. And he thinks so well of Jake that I wouldn't do that to you. And I think that, if you don't think Bruce Springsteen can move higher, then you hear a story like that and you go, oh my God, you really are just the nicest guy. And his podcast with Barack Obama is amazing. Anyway,
I hope he'd be a nice guy because Jake was a nice guy.
Yeah,
Jake's a great guy.
Super. So we wish him all the best, and you will enjoy that show tomorrow night. Also, speaking of tomorrow, Saturday, something kind of cool could arrive in your inbox with one simple subscribe.
Our very own Kay. We've spoken to Kay before. We've mentioned her several times because she really does. She is our, how do I describe her? She is the magic really to this show.
Yeah.
She makes us sound and look, I'd say, pretty darn good. She handles everything behind the scenes technically.
She has a lot to work with on the look, too. She has a lot. She's not a lot to work with.
She's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she handles a lot of things behind the scenes. I don't want to call her our IT person, but she's certainly our social media person.
Yeah.
And she came up with this initiative to really shine the light on something that doesn't get enough light shone on it. Of course, good news here in the Quinte area.
And when you hear good news, you think, okay, we're going to put up cat videos.
A lemonade stand.
Stuff like that. But what we're really saying is legitimate news stories that are worthy of being known that get buried because there's so much of the other stuff.
Yeah.
And you should still know who's doing check presentations, where affordable housing is being built, where roads are being built, like where good things are happening instead of just the other stuff. So we had her on the show this morning, and she explains why you can have this arriving weekly in your inbox if you subscribe. Here's Kay. You know how I talk on the air about how we have a literal morning show cast of thousands that put this show together? It's just Kay.
It's really Kay.
It's really just Kay. It's the three of us, and everything else that happens, Kay. Like when we have throwback and you vote, Kay does that. When you listen to the Mark and Charity Coffee podcast, Kay puts that up. That's what Kay does. Also of Babes of Quinte, not Bay of Quinte, Babes of Quinte podcast that you just launched with Katie. And now you've got a new initiative. Kay, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hello,
everybody.
Kay.
Tell us about this initiative you had, which was, it's become now a daily email blast?
It's weekly.
Weekly.
So every Saturday, I started. I'm going to take credit for this one.
Absolutely, you should.
I'm pretty proud of it.
Yes.
So it was just like, I was just sitting in my living room one night and I was watching the news and it was just really overwhelming. And it's like, I find that everybody is really overwhelmed by the news. And it's generally kind of like a negative space. So I was like, how do I make the news a positive space? And I was like, I don't know how to do this. But I was like, wait, maybe we can take all the good things that are happening in Quinte specifically and highlight that a little bit more. So that's what I did. So now we have the Good News in Quinte. It's a weekly email newsletter that you can read, and it's just a compilation of all the good news stories from the previous week in one space.
In one
your
space,
email
right.
inbox.
Now, do you put this together, or
do,
can
yeah.
people send you their good news?
So what it is, it's a compilation of inquinte.ca stories.
Okay.
So if they want to send me a story, they can do that, and then I would just relay it to news, and they can write something up. But we've been really trying to kind of focus on community stories and like good things that are happening in the area.
Right. Yep.
That's what I mean. If someone has, say, I just saw a little girl did a lemonade stand in support of Belleville General Hospital. If if her dad saw that and said, "Hey, good news story," and Kay does that, let's send it to Kay.
You could send it to me.
They can send it directly to you.
They can send it directly to
me,
and we can include it into the newsletter because that's exactly the kind of stuff we want to see. Because it just makes you feel like the warm and fuzzies inside.
Need more of that. That's a great idea, Kay.
I thought so.
And and sometimes when you think of stuff like that, you think, well, it's an antidote to the bad stuff. But in reality, because there's only so much time, there's no room for that stuff. And yet that news should get out, not because it's the antidote, but because it is part of what the community is about.
Sure.
If I were to pop myself down in a city I never lived in, and all I listened to was their 8 o'clock news, I would think, what a horrible city. Because that's all you can put into news. It's like crime, but that doesn't tell me about where I live. This gives me a better example of what's going on behind the scenes with the people I live with. Check presentations at the hospital, stuff like that. Infrastructure's being done. That's good news. Like, it's not just, light and fluffy puppy videos. It's legitimate news I need that I'm probably not going to get anywhere else.
Yeah.
Well, and the awful thing is, too, we do tend to focus on the negative. Yeah. As a rule, that's kind of human nature. So to bring forward the good stuff.
You have to.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that was part of it, too. It was just like because I do a lot of the social media for Quinte. So when I'm.
You do all the
Let's be fair here. Be honest.
So when I'm looking at the analytics at the end of the month, I see which stories do the best. And a lot of the times it's bad news stuff because people they want to see the bad, it's just like people are curious and it's like
we gravitate towards it.
So then obviously the Facebook algorithm starts to push the bad news stuff more often in people's feeds because people are interacting with that more and they're clicking the links more. So I'm like, you know what? There's got to be a way to combat this in a positive way. So I was like, okay, we're going to just start featuring more because all these good news stories are posted to the Quinte feed throughout the week. These are
right. Again,
these aren't stories you're writing.
Up.
These are stories that are
happening,
there.
And it's a aggregated place for all these stories to live.
How can people get it?
Go to goodnewsinquinte.ca and you can read all the past issues, which I think is really cool. So you can kind of just go back a couple weeks and you can see, because a lot of the stuff is still relevant today. So you can see, what's happening with affordable housing or, how the Belleville General Hospital Foundation's being, supported by the community or Hospice Quinte or any of these volunteer organizations or yeah, just good stuff happening.
That's wonderful.
And can you subscribe so it shows up in your inbox?
Yeah. So right from the website, you just throw your email in, and every Saturday morning you'll get just a little
Good news. Wake up Saturday, have your
wake up
coffee,
Saturday,
and
have
feel
a
good for the
coffee,
weekend.
and be like, okay, the world is not burning.
Yes.
Yep.
There are some good things
There's
going on.
and that's the thing, is there's so much good stuff happening that I feel doesn't get like a fair shake.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to give all the good stuff and recognize the people who take the time to do the good stuff. Because that's another thing, is like I feel like people who do these good things and, you know, all these good initiatives and the volunteers and stuff
Absolutely.
get like that extra little highlight of love.
And you're working on your Nobel Prize speech now. You're
Yeah, I'm not a very
remember the little people.
Now, if someone does have a story they want to share, and it
Yeah.
isn't on in Quinte, how can they send it to you?
They can send it to me just at k@955hitsfm.ca.
That's K-A-Y.
K-A-Y.
K-A-Y. Okay,
At
at 95.5.
Or they can submit it, they can just message any of our Facebook pages. So in Quinte, Cool, or 955. And there's many different ways. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, if you want.
If you have trouble with your phone, call Kay. That's what I do. Kay,
Oh, I've done that more than once, yes.
how do I
fix
copy and
this?
paste a picture? Oh, my God. He's so old. He's so old. Kay, hey, thanks for that initiative. That's great. Once again, the location.
goodnewsinquinte.ca.
Sign up, get it on the weekend. Thanks. Have a great week.
You too.
The nice thing about this, too, it costs nothing.
Yeah.
Takes 2 seconds.
Right.
You subscribe. You don't have to pay anything to receive it. It just automatically comes. You can sit with your morning coffee tomorrow and just feel good. Start the day off on a right note.
And the weekend. Start the weekend, too, with the right note. Isn't that a great way to do it?
Yeah.
Saturday morning with the
Exactly.
coffee. And it's crazy, you know, because we know radio very well. Radio, you only have room for one story at a time.
You
Right?
do have
So-
time constraints. Yeah. So you
So
have
the
to.
only thing, but when you can get all the news that you need at inquinte.ca while simultaneously getting this, it doesn't take up any other time. So the different medium allows this company to be able to say every piece of news you have now, but what's the stuff you might be missing over here? Radio, you only have so many minutes in an hour.
Exactly.
And people make it clear, as much as, you know, we like to get the news, we turn to you for the music.
And
so how can we
unfortunately-
provide it? Kay's provided it.
Unfortunately, the bigger stories tend to be on the more negative side.
Yep.
So yeah, this kind of brings it back and says, no, but don't forget this is going on too. And this is what this person's doing in this group. And let's focus on them too.
Kay talked about the analytics on
Yes,
inquinte.ca.
yep.
When Bill Glusky was here, we were sitting out in the same area, and I would talk to him about it. And boy, he said he would come in on a snowstorm day and say, can't wait to see these numbers.
Yeah.
Snowstorms would lead a month of the biggest page views.
During the
a
winter, I believe.
snowstorm.
Absolutely.
Just because you need to know it, weather, you
Yep.
know. So it's, you know, unfortunately, stuff like fires were big too, because people want to know.
Road closures and accidents.
Yes, people want to know because it does impact
It
us.
does.
It isn't just,
of course it does.
It isn't just the morbid curiosity. It's the
It's the safety of everybody.
Yep.
But it's nice to be reminded that equally as important, but unfortunately maybe overshadowed,
yeah.
this person's doing a really great thing. This
Yeah.
organization's doing a great thing.
need to know that.
The city is doing a really great thing.
Yeah. So, Kay, thank you for
Yes,
that.
thank you, Kay.
Jake Clemons, have a great time tomorrow night. Tonight, Tea Party, Headstones.
Yes.
Going to be on stage. Glorious
Headstones
Sons.
with Hugh Dillon?
Yeah,
from Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
Oh, I know a lot of people are excited about that.
The sheriff, who is no longer on the show, perhaps in flashback, spoiler alert. As so happens with so many of the characters on Yellowstone, began the series no longer living.
No, he's not
Just
on
happens
anymore.
a lot.
And closer to home, he was on Flashpoint,
Yeah.
the CTV show too,
Yes.
as well. He was also star of that. So a pretty well-known actor, but also an incredible musician. It's going to be a great show tonight.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Have a great time. We're going to see you perhaps as well down in Trenton tonight for the fireworks display.
Spectacular.
And when we finally see that surprise ending that Mark Phillips has been promising us for 10 days.
You have the bar so high here, Mark. I think your expectations. So I'm interested. I'm going to have to text you afterwards. What did you think?
Because I'm going to be the
'Cause
guy
you're on the
standing
edge
up
of your
going,
seat.
what? That was it?
No.
Which I doubt I'll say.
You'll be on the ground, passed out, because
so
you'll
excited.
be so amazed.
So excited.
You'll just faint.
Hiding under my chair because they were so loud. drone show, fireworks, all part of Festival on the Bay in Trenton, continuing all weekend. If you're coming to town for the Quinte region this weekend, good on you.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stuff going on.
You're going to have a great weekend.
Have a fabulous weekend. I'm going to take 2 weeks off.
Oh.
So it's the Charity Coffee Podcast, if you choose to do it.
Well, of course.
Okay.
It won't be as long.
No.
It's very, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you don't find, I do. I have a hard time talking to myself.
When you're gone, it's 35 minutes.
I
get all preachy.
Oh, okay. Well, yes. You have a great time over the next couple of weeks. Well deserved. Rest up and enjoy.
All right. It's Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast. Wherever you get your favorite podcasts, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Go find them on them all. Listen to them on each platform. See which one sounds better. Back at it. Charity will be here on Monday. Have a fabulous Quinte area weekend. Enjoy it from Mark and Charity Mornings.